Hey everyone, it is Stacey Dunn-Emke with NutritionJobs and DietitianSalaries with another edition of Dietitian Career Success. So I know everyone is super interested in a remote job, a telehealth job, where you can work from your home office, where you can work from a desk that is not surrounded by a whole bunch of other people asking what you want for lunch. Maybe those are your kids, but anyway, coworkers. And you really want to have a situation where you can provide amazing nutrition care for your patient population, but in a telehealth situation, working with a telehealth system. And it's actually kind of hard to get those jobs. They're very competitive. Every other dietitian wants that job. So I am bringing on today one of my very dear dietitian friends who is an expert in how to get hired by one of the telehealth company systems. So welcome to our show today, Adrien Paczosa. Hi.
Hey, Stacey, I am over the moon excited to be here. I absolutely adore everything you're doing in this space. It truly helps dietitians and everybody wanting to really advance their careers. Nobody talks about that enough.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for that. I have a huge special spot for you in my heart as a dietitian because you're one of my first individuals who invited me on to their podcast. You had an amazing podcast for dietitians and private practice that was super, super helpful. And it was all about fearless practitioners, how to get out there and do your craft without fear of perfectionism. You have built up this amazing career. I laugh because you look just like every other dietitian, but you're not. You have these super unique skills. You started off with your own private practice and eating disorders. You grew that to hire lots of other people, to also include a telehealth platform. And then you helped found a telehealth platform that we all know, Nourish. And you are now starting another telehealth platform for dietitians in this space of eating disorders, and that is Nabi Health. So maybe tell us a little bit about your new venture, because I think a lot of people know who you are and what your background is. So tell us how it is that you've gotten so interested in the area of telehealth for dietitians.
Oh, well, thank you. I feel like I'm just a normal person, just a gluttony for punishment, I guess, of working. But I guess I love dietitians. I think we are the biggest advocate for patients, the most unsung hero of healthcare. And so, whatever I can do to create better access to dietitians, yes, sign me up. And to get us paid better too, sign me up. As you said, like my background started in eating disorders and disordered eating care and mental health. And so this opportunity came about that this new digital health company, Nabi Health, wants to do the same thing, is to truly build access to registered dietitians in mental health care. And so we're starting with dietitians, and over the course of the next couple of years, we're going to add other mental health providers. But I was just so touched that they were like, yes, we want to start with dietitians because we feel that is key to mental health. I was like, ah, singing my praise. Yes, I love it.
I think a lot of dietitians are feeling very anxious about the job market these days. I think a lot of it is unfounded. However, it's nice for them to hear from other people what their perspective is on the job market for dietitians. I know that there are a lot of people getting laid off with government jobs, and that's not everybody. That's not everybody in the field of dietetics. I know that in-person is wonderful. One-on-one direct patient care with somebody is really helpful, very valuable. But there are some benefits to the telehealth system. So how do you think that dietitians can be successful in sort of changing their mindset about opportunities in telehealth? Maybe you can share some of your insights on that.
I mean, it is the most creative, flexible area of dietetics. So we want to be dietitians. That's what we came into. We fell in love with patient care. And then we forgot we had a life. And so how do you balance the two? And I think that's where digital health comes in. You get to set your own hours in some of these companies, and you get to have a meaningful interaction with patients. You get to build those relationships. You get to see them progress. It's just like in person, but you only have to look professional from the waist up. And which who doesn't love? Let's be real. And then the best part is you get to have a life. If that's, "Oh, I want to go for a walk at lunch. Great, go for a walk. I need to go and pick up groceries in the afternoon. I need to go pick up my kids. I need to, this is great during my time is I had two little babies at the time and I was able to take breaks to go and nurse. Like that was such a gift. And so I think it's really a wonderful way for our profession to have meaningful work and also have a meaningful life.
I agree. I think the flexibility is really helpful, whether you are responsible for taking care of a family or you just have other obligations or you have different creative outlets that you want to enjoy as a professional dietitian. So I agree. I think that just opens up a lot of opportunity. Obviously, the creativity is a big part, but also you get to reach a greater number of people who need your help.
Mhm.
And I think the patient population that you've been working with a long time, these patients, people who have eating disorders, they might be young, they might be in college, they might be in a situation where they don't really want everyone to know that they're going to a dietitian. So I think it also offers so much flexibility for the patient. And if we're thinking about how we can help people, this is another element in which we can help. Besides just delivering nutrition care,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
meeting them where they're at, and that is, maybe in a college dorm or wherever it might be, so that you can actually help them. So tell us a little about Nabi Health. I know it's new on the scene and I'm super excited about it. I know it's going to offer a lot of opportunities both for patients but also for dietitians. Can you tell us a little bit about that company?
Yes. So it, by the time this released, it started almost a year ago, but it started as an app. And the app is called Calli. And for those that are a little bit more mature, it's a Tamagotchi kind of approach to nutrition and self-care. So you have this little cat, Calli, that you can feed and give water, journal, all of those types of things. And it's supposed to mimic you. And so if I eat, then Calli eats and all of that and going back and forth. And so that was kind of the first product. And from there, we are a clinic. So we have got registered dietitians and we would like more. Please come on over. And come on over. We would love you to join our team. But so what the purpose is and what we're building out. So we're trying to build out a whole new care model in nutrition where we work with AI. So your dietitian appointment, you do your magical dietitian appointment, your chart note gets loaded into our AI agent. That AI agent then goes into Calli, and as the patient is going through their week and adding things, the AI agent will be like, hey, remember when you talked to Adrien this week? She asked if you could do X, Y, and Z, and then we'll record that. Or it will say, hey, remember you and Adrien talked about this upcoming stressor. How's it going? And so all of that data that the patient's interacting with Calli, then from that AI agent, it gets pulled back into our EMR system that we're building. It's awesome. And gives you a summary of like, oh, this went on this day. This is what happened. And so you have an in-depth insight of what's going on into your patient. It'll give you a couple of recommendations, but then you as the medical professional will make the recommendations and run your session as normal. So I remember when I was in direct patient care, like I always wanted to text patients like, hey, how's it going? Oh, I know today's going to be a hard day because X, Y, and Z. And so it's me in their pocket. And that's really, I think, is going to have some compounding effects on overall behavior change, comes results. So I am so excited for this.
I love the idea that the person who's in this, who's receiving the care, has this. I love the app. I've taken a look at the app. I've taken a look at the Calli, and it's like this fluffy self-care person, this little animal that mirrors you, and it's this great connection. And I love how that's like a new way to think and how a dietitian can get that connectivity. I mean, I think it used to be sort of called like accountability, like it really was helpful, but I like the connectivity that you get with this mirrored version of you in animal form. It's really great. And I think that is one of the areas as dietitians, it can be a little tricky. It's great to get people in on their first visit. There's a lot of momentum behind that first visit, that first pass at seeing the dietitian, first pass at being a patient. But
Mhm.
then that follow up, it's so easy. I know in my own personal life, like that follow up process is so difficult. So it'll be interesting to see like what impact that can have as a dietitian on subsequent visits and
Mhm.
eventually benchmarks. However, you're tracking progress, whether it's how many times they come back for a visit or how successful they are at meeting their goals or what their
Yeah.
outcome achievements were. So I think that's really great. I'm very interested in the interview process, in the application process, because I'm thinking now I'm a dietitian. I already have a job, but it actually would be really fun to do this job. And I think, okay, so what is the interview process or what's the application process? So maybe you can walk a potential dietitian through the process of what it's like to be onboarded, or just, sending out your initial query or filling out the initial form. Maybe tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so on our website, nabihealth.com, there's join a team or there's a career page, and you can read all about the job description. And then you just fill out the form, which is easy. Upload your resume. There's a couple of questions. Where are you licensed? All of that. And it's pretty straightforward. You'll get an automatic response. Yay, thank you for your application. It's in the queue, meaning it's in Adrien's inbox. And so me or our lead dietitian or our head of operations is looking over your resume. After it gets passed off or in the check mark, you'll get an email saying, welcome to your first interview. And that first interview is really about cultural fit.
Mm,
And which I think is something that to me is really important because all of our dietitians are W-2s. And that's also very important to my heart, is I think dietitians need to have a home and they need to feel safe and secure in their job. And so to me, that's a W-2. And I want you to be a part of our family. And so we're building out really intense community and support for our dietitians. And you're getting paid for that time too. Um, not just for seeing patients. And so we want to make sure that you're wanting to that as part of your career, that you're wanting to learn and grow with us. And so that's the first interview. And then after that, we do our second interview, which is a case study. And it's more just so it's a conversation. Well, here's a patient that comes in. What would you do? Just, I'm curious how your brain thinks through things. And then after that, you'll get an offer letter, hopefully. And from there, we'll start your credentialing process to add you to our insurance panels. And that's where there is a little bit of a timeline. So it might be a month, it might be 3 weeks. It just kind of depends on our credentialing process. And so there is a little bit of a lag time from when you get your offer letter till when you can actually start to see patients. And our onboarding, we do it very methodical. So for that first day, you had 5 new patients and you're learning systems that feel very overwhelming. That would be awful. And so we would definitely onboard and ramp people up, making sure that you understand all of the technology, that you have all the training, that you have all of the support as well.
that's awesome. I'm just going to give a brief definition. So, uh, Adrian mentioned a W-2. So that's somebody who's salaried. So that's just the tax form versus a 1099, which is a contract. So it's just a little bit different. So that is awesome. You're right. That has that sense of peace of like, this is my new company. This is awesome. And I think that is really helpful for people to feel like really invested in the company and not like sort of, oh, I'm gonna work with Nabi and then I'm gonna like do my own thing, right? Like, so no, you want to feel like secure. This is your home. This is the company that you want to work for. All right. This is always like the number one thing. Like, okay, so I understand I need to understand the cultural community, understand the cultural fit, and then go through the case study process. So, what are some key things that you are looking for? Anybody that's in this interview process, like ways that dietitians can really be successful. With maybe even just start with a resume, and then we can move on to LinkedIn or the interview process. So, what are some ways that dietitians can stand out on their resume so that they get flagged for so that they get the check?
Yeah, yeah. A couple of things. So if you're not going to join Nabi Health, I'm sad, I will miss you. But for any digital health company, if you are wanting to do digital health, have a LinkedIn page because I love your resume. I'm actually going to go to your LinkedIn first. So
You heard it here. Oh my gosh. That's fascinating. I have never heard anyone say that out loud.
yeah.
You know, I'm the biggest evangelist for getting dietitians on LinkedIn, or if they've got their own private practice to have a LinkedIn company page, but everyone should have a
Yeah.
gorgeous LinkedIn personal profile that is
Yeah.
ready to hire. It's
Yeah.
hire ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me
Um,
about that,
yeah.
actually.
So I'll go there and I will actually look at who are we connected?
Hmm.
And who of my friends do I know? Do you know? And so if you know Stacey, awesome. Pass over to interview. Like that's an automatic. So sometimes I'll look at your LinkedIn before I might like I won't even look at your resume. I'm sorry. Um,
It's fascinating, Adrian. Okay.
and so if you are going to do a digital health company, start there. Also, if you want to work at one of these digital health companies, go and find the lead RD, the manager RD at the company you want to work for, and befriend them and just say,
Mhm.
I'm really interested in this company. I'd love to learn more. Do it. Nothing hurts.
That's interesting. So you're saying like if you want to work for let's just use Nabi. If you want to work for Nabi and you also want to get your application in, you can sort of do them simultaneously, right? Well, make sure that your LinkedIn profile is all spiffy
Yeah.
and up to date.
Mhm.
We can talk about some keywords in there in a second, but that's spiffy up to date. Then you put in your application and then also go up to the connections and make sure that you're connected either with the lead dietitian. So you can go on to the Nabi company page
Mhm.
on LinkedIn and you look at the people, go over to the tab that says people,
Mhm.
and you can see who works there and you can see if you're connected to them as a first degree connection, then you can
Mhm.
direct message them and you can say, I'm so and so, and I am super excited about this position as a dietitian with Nabi Health. I have 6 months experience in this. I've done this. I've done that. I would love for you to take a look at my application. If you're not connected to them and you can't message them, then find how you can get connected to them. Because your whole point is what you're saying is you want to have a one-on-one direct message conversation with them.
Yeah.
So if you're a second degree, you can reach out and send a connection request. And
Mhm.
in that message, that's the one time you can do that to that person, for that person. Then that same message, I'm interested in this job, give my application a look over. If
Yeah.
you're third degree, then you probably need to find somebody else that can connect
Mhm.
you, and then you're back up to the second degree connections. I think you could do a third as well, but I think if you can get up to this, at least the second degree removed connection
Mhm.
from this person, then go for it. So that's
Oh,
great
yeah.
advice. In your LinkedIn profile, are there keywords that you're looking for? Are there what's sort of standing out? What are you
Yeah.
scanning for on there?
What am I scanning for? I am looking for a couple of things. So, because we are in mental health and eating disorders, that's one of the top things I look for. I'm looking for if you have done any digital health, awesome. That's an immediate yes. If you haven't, cool beans. No worries. I got you. I got you, girl or guy, or whomever. And if you've done counseling, the other piece, and this is a long-term vision, is I always hear people like, well, I don't have experience, and you have to have experience to get experience. And that just like breaks my heart. And so even if you don't have experience and you are, I don't want to say like hungry enough, like if you're, I guess,
Motivated.
motivated, that's what I was looking for, motivated, and you message me, I will have that call.
Well, I'm going to back up for a second though, because some people say, oh, I don't have experience in nutrition counseling. Actually, that's not true. How did you get through your internship? You never gave anyone the cardiac diet spiel or
Yeah.
the low sodium or the gestational diabetes. You've had that experience. I think that goes back to the idea of you think back through, come in without the imposter syndrome, come in with the abundance mindset that, oh,
Mhm.
I think I have had that experience somewhere along the line. I need to think about what skills I use to execute that functionality, that function as a dietitian, whether it was in my internship or my first job as a clinical dietitian, media dietitian, whatever it was. You probably have had some sort of counseling experience, so that's really
Mhm.
good. So
Yeah.
all those. Any other keywords you're looking for?
I think those are. it. In your kind of explanation about yourself, I might skim over that if there is a blurb, but don't spend too much time on that. I would say it's really looking at your the work experiences where I spend my time.
Okay, that's really helpful. That's great. So I sort of interrupted you when you were going through your process. So when you're going through the application process, you're looking at someone's LinkedIn, you're looking to see if you're connected with them, you're going through to see if they meet some sort of criteria on their LinkedIn profile. After that, what's sort of your next step as a recruiter?
Yeah, as a recruiter, then I'll go back to their resume. Skim it real quick, maybe like 2 seconds. Is there anything? Oh, so this is just my nerdy self. I'll go to the very bottom and see if they're active in the academy.
I know that you do that. I know that you look at the academy. You also, I'll speak for you. You also like to look at people's volunteer experience
Yeah,
or their service. Like what
yeah.
kind of service? Are they involved in the community? Are
Mhm.
they service minded? Are they just a little more rounded, robust? Is
Yeah,
that still true?
exactly. It's still true. So that is also one of my hacks. I'll go down to the bottom, and it could be volunteer for Girl Scouts of America or their local animal shelter. And to me, that's where it comes back to cultural fit. And so I'm like, ah, awesome. I love it. They're more than just work. So they added something personal to their resume. Um, or they're, yeah, so I like that. I think that's just a fun thing. And then after that, I would say, yeah, they usually go on to initial interviews. I'm trying to
Yeah.
think like what would cause me to say no. People that are still in their internships, unfortunately, I got to have that passing internship. Somebody that is that somehow hasn't explained that they want a change in career. So let's say that somebody is coming in and they've done nursing homes, long-term care, all of that, but they're ready for a change and they want to do something different. So I 100% support that. But they haven't conveyed that. Reading their resume, reading their LinkedIn, I don't know that. And so, unless you've sent over a cover letter, unless you have sent over something that says, I am ready for a change and this is why, so if you want to change, awesome, just tell me and I would love to meet you.
I think that's a great point that you bring up. And it seems sort of obvious to this person who wants to make the transition because they think they've told you by applying, right? That would make sense,
Yeah.
but that's not, that's going from A to C, and Adrienne needs to hear B in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
middle. She needs to connect the story. This is the story of your application. This is the story of your work experience. I have done this and now I'm moving into this. And this could be something straightforward on your LinkedIn profile. It could be in that first sentence of your about section, or it could just be back on your resume because you will eventually, or
Yeah.
somebody will eventually look at your resume in your professional summary, that very top section, 4 years of experience in clinical nutrition and in dialysis and looking to move towards blah, blah, blah with my history of blah, blah, blah. So,
Yeah.
right, that there's this conscious effort to show that you are ready to move into this field and you're super motivated, you're hungry,
Yeah.
you're wanting to make this next step. Okay, that's all super helpful. Um, I guess my next thing is like, so beyond technical skills and beyond keywords in a LinkedIn profile, what are some other types of personality flags you are looking for, flags that are
Um,
positive, that are uh, how do you read somebody? Like, how do you
yeah.
know that they're going to be a good cultural fit?
And this goes back to anybody in digital health. If you are wanting to get into digital health, like the word that if you say this to a recruiter, they'll be like, yes, 100%. And that is, I am good with ambiguity. I
Oh,
am good.
I'm going to say tech.
No,
Oh,
ambiguity. I'm good with
tell me
ambiguity.
more.
And I'm good with moving fast.
Oh.
Those are the words, and they will be like, yes, great. So in the digital health space, there is a lot of ambiguity in the sense that most of these companies are building things that have never been built before. Like, oh, we want to build an EMR system. Well, we kind of know that it needs this, but what if we did this? We're building stuff in AI. Well, I don't know about that. I don't know. So, dietitians, let's figure this out. And then, so you have to be okay with the unknown. You have to be okay that, oh, today we're doing this way, and tomorrow we are doing everything 100% different, and I need you to do it that way. Okay? And so you have to be okay with that and moving fast. Like when I say moving fast, like um in the sense, and again, like it's always like patients first, we're taking care of them, but like, oh, we are now, instead of using Google, we are now using Notion or something else. Like, and it is happening overnight because of something.
This is
So
fascinating. I love this. This is super helpful. I think not only for somebody to understand, like, what gets them in the door, but how does that feel? Like when you're hearing this, listening to this video, like how does that make you feel when someone's moving fast or there's going to be a lot of things unraveling? I have like this saying in my family of 5 people that I'm going to make a plan and then we're not going to unravel that plan. Like I don't care if it doesn't work out. Like I'm tired of planning things, right?
yeah.
Okay, so I would like totally disqualify myself. Don't unravel the plan. But that's the whole point of working for a fast company and a fast technology changing. You're changing to make it better, right? It's not just changing to change, right?
Yeah.
It's changing to meet the needs of the patient population, to make sure you're still making money, that it's still a viable business, and there's
Yep.
nothing wrong with that, right? Like it's a business. This business is
Yeah.
paying you, and that's all part of moving
Yeah.
with the flow, going with the flow,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
there is unraveling and raveling, right?
Yes.
It goes
And
back and forth.
it can be super scary, and I get it. And so being okay with, and that's the other piece, is if the company can tell you why. Well, why are we
Mm.
changing from this to this? Why is ambiguity so important for you guys right now? And I think those are great questions. So like I'm okay with ambiguity and fast pace. What does it look like at your company? And so getting it
Yeah.
back from them, the recruiter or things like that. I think those are really high level for digital health interviews.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I think also the idea that it's okay to ask why, but maybe it's like how you ask why and not looking like, as I joke also in my family, is don't be the orange cone.
Yeah.
Like don't be the obstacle, like with abundance, with open arms, like, oh, why are we doing this? This is
Yeah.
cool. Like, okay, good. What's the outcome? What's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
new anticipated benchmark or the
Yeah.
outcome or whatever it is? Okay, I love this. Adrien, I did not expect you to say that. So I'm sure I'm not alone in this. And so this is super valuable information. I know we've used a ton of your time, but I have just like a few more
Yeah.
burning questions. Like how you have been incredibly successful in your career as a dietitian. You've pivoted, you've embraced new opportunities, big opportunities, not like just little things, but like really big chunky ventures. What are some of your personal characteristics that other dietitians might be interested in hearing to see if they can be as successful as you?
I think you can be. I definitely see it. Say yes and be curious. And I would say, and positive, like everything is figure outable. Like there's a problem, there has got to be a solution, and it doesn't have to be what everybody's always done. The other one is network, 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 network. Like know everybody and know them on a different level. And so I think that's one of my superpowers is I will
I
talk to,
agree.
yeah,
You'll talk to anybody, but you're also like you reach out to me all the time. Let's do a catch up. You don't have to explain what it is. You don't have to like have a fancy intro. Either we both email or through LinkedIn. It's like very quick and simple, and it's very helpful. And I think and it doesn't have to be a long catch up. Doesn't have to be a lot, but every time that I network with somebody, there's always some pearl that comes out of it. Every time you and I talk, there's some pearl, and I make sure that I have a pearl for you, and you've always given some to me. And the same thing goes for other dietitians, other people that you're meeting. The intention is to give and to receive. You don't have to have an expectation for what you're receiving, but you can have a thought ahead of time of what you can provide or what you can, even if it's a compliment, even if it's just telling them what they did recently, an article they published or something that was really good. I really enjoyed that. It's just a quick conversation starter and it moves on to more things. And you can put a time limit on when you're putting it into your calendar and just say just 15 minutes, it doesn't have to be a long or 30 minutes, or it doesn't have to be an hour or 45 minutes. It can just be a short connection. But I think you're really good at that. And I do know that that has really benefited your high fly career. Like it's really been helpful. Any other superpowers you have?
I'm up for all the challenges. Like will walk away from like the scary stuff. I think that's why I started in eating disorders, because I was like, whoa, well, everybody says these are hard. Patience. I'm like, no, I think this is awesome. I love a challenge. I love when things are sticky because it's more fun to solve.
That's an interesting perspective. I'm going to offer one for you. And it's something that you've told me before. So it's nothing, terribly new. You like to say, and I think sometimes you say this in a way that you think it might not be one of your superpowers, but I think the converse is true, that you don't get stuck in the details, or that you say you're not good with details. And I actually would reframe that and say, you don't get stuck in the details. And I think those details sometimes prevent you, they make you too sticky, and you can't sort of gloss over and move faster. I think the details prevent us from being aerodynamic and move fast or move effortlessly to the next step, to the next phase. And so that's always a pearl I'm taking away from you, is don't get caught in those details, because oh my gosh, like that will go on and on forever. It's not even about perfectionism. It's just don't allow yourself to get stuck in the honey of the details. So I'm going to offer that as something for you.
Thank you. I forget about that one because I'm not detailed. I don't get stuck in them.
Right.
I think this is a sticky conversation because it's two-pronged. And I think if we look at it, like I would love to pay dietitians 100K a year. I would love that. Like that is awesome. I think the sticky part is I don't get that from health insurance. And so if I'm billing health insurance, sadly, those reimbursement rates aren't there. And so as an employer, I am stuck between running a business and paying a dietitian because I only get so much money. And so I think that's the hardest part. Just knowing that as a dietitian, I know you're worth more. I don't have the dollars to do that. And so how can we make more money is getting your NPI, being on health insurance plans that will show health insurance that we do great work. But then also raise your hand inside the company. Even though I can't pay you more for patient time, maybe I can help you, maybe you can help the company in other ways. Don't say blogging and social media. Please don't ever tell me that, because because that is like a science nowadays on algorithms and who knows what else. Tell me how you can bring in more patients. Tell me how you could recruit for me. Bring in more dietitians. Tell me how you can test out new product. Tell me how you are wanting to run a feedback loop or something with our engineers. In digital health, I'm talking more digital health idea. So I think I don't need another person to write a blog. I don't need another person to do social media. Yeah. And I think the other thing is tell us, like, I vividly remember, I had this one dietitian, like on her second day, she's like, I want to be an RD manager when that opens up. And like every other like month she would email me, and lo and behold, like she was one of our best RD managers. And so like tell us, like we don't know if you don't tell me. Thank you.